Welcome back, everybody. This week we got a special tale. Family Affairs, A.K.A. My Avenging Vampire, by Andre Michael Pietroschek. So apparently this story is inspired by a science fantasy tabletop role-playing game. It takes place in a near future with a fictional universe that includes cybernetics, magic, and fantasy creatures that coexist, while major corporations, as usual, have gone tyrannical. It combines some cyberpunk, urban fantasy, crime, along with conspiracy and horror. So sit back, everybody, relax, and enjoy the tale. The story begins. Thou shalt not suffer a witch to be born. That pseudo-prophetic warning weighed upon my mood like a death omen or banshee cry while I woke up. Some brain drags like that formed the sermon of another, hopelessly outdated, yet supposedly holy book. My problem with it was, the woman who I had married was a witch, and my daughter thereby could be suspected of being a witch as well, even by the silvers of scientific education, which I care to remember. Suckers. All she had wanted was to get to that teenage band Celtic Soul concert. Well, we had not forbidden that, just failed to tell her about it in time. So she did what every good daughter does, rebelliously. She made use of the personality traits inherited and learned from her parents. The little bitch sedated us and sneaked off. Next time you tranquilize your elders, you might wake up in the cauldron, along with spices, dear. I wished I could tell her. As for now, she was still missing. When we had finally gathered enough cash and credit, and my wife had decided to proverbially leave running the shadows and the big city life behind, the technology was lightweight and portable, so we did not miss much and spent our time in an arcology much like those retired rangers often tend to do. Controlled environment, security, and some comfort. Independence, as we could produce our own food and water, except for me. Nearly all others also knew how to brew alcohol. Not synthanol, but real, handmade brew alcohol. When it all started back in 2043, I had been another urban neo-shaman, or better said, I may have once been supposed to become a proper one. Fox was my totemic quintessence, but the criminal underclasses were my environment. There is no great prudence that a high-caliber bullet to my head cannot neutralize instantly. We had our problems from the start, because I guess Fox knew it, yet decided to leave my choice to me. Even the well-meaning can hurt one brutally, and such was not new to me. I had made my choice. After 10 years of running with Fox, and as a fox, I told my totem that we'd better depart. It was mutual. I did not lose all my magic. I was not killed by some breach of my spirit either, and not even the separation finished me off. Without Fox, I simply was a proverbial shadow of a man. There was no day in my life that I could be fully awake for more than 4 hours. That was the price to pay. Lifelong imprisonment on the borderline of dreamy slumber. Like a sedated lunatic. I hated Fox even more, yet knew it was not his misdeed. Fox was just one more totemic manifestation, and the fat and bloated man whom I had become did not look prudent, nor tricky at all. We had done what parents typically do when their child goes missing. We had instantly indebted ourselves and hired a private investigator, who had scored some success in Wayne, earning a reputation in precisely the city wherein Celtic Soul were predestined to jump upon the stage. But there is this truism about solutions among street survivors. An easy solution is no solution at all. The bitch named Consequence is not fucked by anyone without dire repercussions to follow. My wife tended to smack me with one of her elbows whenever I was caught babbling such vulgarisms aloud. The sleuth had returned to us with one of those facial expressions one only wants to see in media entertainment. Or, as a Spanglish, "Oh, retardo." Kind of telenovela parody. The fact that he visited an arcology at all proved to me that he was professional enough for me. He delivered a message from my daughter's pseudo kidnapper. Kinda, "Come, jump into my trap so I can avenge myself, or your offspring will become my vampire pawn, slave eternal. Signed, K. Dam." Instantly has only one limit, and that is certain death. I should have killed K straight the first time he had proven himself a false friend. I did not, because I was brainwashed by the laws of an old, long-gone democracy, calling it murder. So he had risen in power and was eager to put the blame on me once again. "He'll have you raped and tortured to death," my wife commented, with the shimmer of divination magic in her eyes. Or worse, he forces me to listen to his self-pity sermon again. I will not abandon our child to his fangs. I tried to fake a smile and to pretend immortally. K had become the boss of a special gang, Supra Kalafi, proudly homosexual Turkish criminals. Funded by some corporate media friends of his, they hoped that K, who happened to be a vampire since 2048, would gift them immortality. K had played the patience card, bluffing about how his rise in power would mean the blood by which they would soon be created could be much stronger. Well, it needs a certain denial of what evil means to trust a vampire anyway. To utter a remark on it, corpse lovers and coffin sleepers are wrong in the head for sure. Disease worship was inevitable in the less established social classes, and it was actually pretty common in most cities. And it was the undead who were mostly immune to it, not their mortal admirers who hoped to get transformed by kissing cheeks. So I ventured into the big city one more time. I needed neither magic nor scouts to find a K, who wanted to be found shortly after midnight because my fat, older me was out of breath. I had entered the gang hosting mansion of the vampire. Former friends make fierce enemies, a peril of mutual wisdom. K was well prepared. Neither my weapons nor my suicide capsule escaped the vigilance of his guards. I wasn't surprised, so I went into the vampire mansion, armed with nothing but unstable magic and a father's duty dominating my disregard for personal danger. Once more, a black sheep is coming home to the butcher, ready to face my self-declared judge. It was much more than I had anticipated. K wanted something which I could not offer. I saw it in his eyes when he made his melodramatic moves, sneaking around my bound daughter like a ghoul around a passerby who had just died of heart failure. K believed the brain crap he was babbling. He did not just play the victim. With all his nocturnal powers, he was still trapped. He had to blame me, for he failed to accept the responsibility for and the consequences of his own misdeeds. I couldn't end our friendship, for he had always been faster than I. Didn't he realize that much at least? I ignored K. Not that his vampiric powers wouldn't have impressed and intimidated me, but another shock had impacted me much more severely. No, it wasn't God coming to our rescue. "Kiddo, you should have told me about your boyfriend," was my resignation comment. But in truth, My last remaining option had just gone awry. The only ace up my sleeve is undone. Not by K, who sure would have rejoiced, but by life. As teenagers tend to prefer living it, I could save only 2, but I could not save 3. K indulged in a personal form of amusement, using his own psychic talents, enhanced by the fact that down here, away from the sun, only one of us would not tire and collapse soon. He had managed to ward his tomb against magic, an accomplishment few darklings could boast of. "Now, you missed that capsule, I guess," Kay asked in his triumphant mood, his fangs nearly shining in the semi-darkness. "Plan B is with hell. Still, I actually just needed you to be distracted until a spell works, dear Kay," came my reply. The last memory I ever had was the shock of realization dawning in my child's eyes. My daughter was transported home as I unleashed Old Norse witchcraft, born in bloody, desperate survival measures. The awakened, merely attempting such a spell, is torn to shreds within the proverbial moment of his deed. It is a spell made only for females, originally more hell than Freya or Frigga invoked by it. It saved my daughter and robbed my oldest adversary of his vengeance. I died, much like the chicken babies thrown into the meat grinders for KFC. I had understood the prophecy, and I came to rescue her, not blow myself to shreds. Naive father's ignorance. I had not known my daughter was already pregnant. The end.